that I let go of all of that, things just started moving for me because I wasn't even concentrating on someone else or other things. I was concentrating on myself.
Purely yourself.
Really. And mountains just started to move. To move, I started meeting people. I started, this happens. Now when I'm posting my things, for me, I'm just posting because it's just joy for myself, not for anybody else. It's just joy. Me, and I don't even look at any of the things I see. When I post, I don't even look. I just post, I'm done. Then I continue with what I'm doing. Chat whatever I'm doing on WhatsApp to do whatever. Yes, every now and then, especially people that I respect. Like Uzulila, if I see him posting up status and I gravitate to that kind of person or Simon, I know his content is gonna feed me with the right information. So I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna look at that stuff that comes. So that's what it is in terms of me and guarding my environment, in terms of become my most authentic self, and being truthful in that regard. Yeah, gentlemen. I'm sure there's a lot to add in that regard.
And I mean, if I can just comment there, I think just to bring in another element that we tend to ignore, especially as young people, because we lack knowledge in this regard. I think it's also important to look at the historical elements of our families. We all come from families which have got things. And when I say things, they've got strengths, they've got weaknesses.
Archives.
Now, even some of the surnames you see today, who were good at farming, it's a family thing. These people were gifted. They had the gift naturally. They didn't have to go study for it. They had it. So we also need to look into those things. If you say Wagamboto, Wagamso, Wagamkis, what are your people known about? What do your people do? What did your great-grandfather do? What did his father do? We need to, there's some things that are in our past which hold so many answers for our future. And like I say, we don't tap into this space because we don't know anything, a lot of us, about our past, and some people don't even have a father close by or a grandfather who can shed some light. But I think it's so important to go back in history. Find out, what did your people do? There's things...
Not the victor's history. We're talking about our own history.
And you can start in your clan names. Just read it carefully, line item by line item. It shows you certain strengths. What did these people... What are they known for? What are they about? Then you understand yourself. Because you have the same genetics as these people.
True, dude.
Understand that?
Yeah.
So the minute you tap into that information, you start to understand, that's why people react this way. So this is why I find this is, and you understand. And you download now real things about you, and you have a look at your mother's side, and you have a look at your father's side. You're a combination of the two. Go back and take some time to do this research. And this is pleasant because it's all about you. You're not doing it for a history test or for an exam or for...
I'm like,
to post a party on Facebook and say, hey guys,
it's not a DP requirement. It's not. It's purely for you. And the way it's going to empower you, you're going to know, I don't eat grapes. I don't eat oranges. I don't eat... certain people, you meet them and they've got so many don'ts because they understand certain things don't align with them. And you may judge and say, but why don't you drink alcohol? I say, I can't suppose. It's a thing there. We don't touch those things. And once you understand that, there's few obstacles that can come into your way. Very, very few. And you operate at a... we're on level 2 now. You're going to be operating on a whole new level.
High dimension.
You know what's crazy? What he's saying. People will memorize Black Coffee's life, or all the celebrities' life. They'll memorize what they're doing, who they've dated, what are they doing, where they live, what they wear, how much they wear. But you don't even know your history yourself, like your own surname. You don't- And you know one of the craziest thing, dude, you talk about genetic, DNA. I love DNA. In life science, they told me that DNA can carry out characteristics.
Epigenetics and all that. Yeah.
Dude, it can carry out. Dude, I can behave like my grandpa, even if I've never seen him. You know what's crazy in there?
Yeah, man, that's coming for me. So, you know. It's coming. It's coming.
Dude.
It's coming.
What's crazy is during the apartheid during that era, the black culture lost themselves. So imagine what the DNA was carrying there. That's why the black culture, when you turn into a black culture, we're angry culture. They were angry. That was passed down through genetic, through DNA. So now I'm saying, as brothers, as we're sitting here, if we can change our DNA right now, what we feed our DNA, imagine the next generation that is coming.
Epigenetics.
They're not gonna carry out the anger we have, dude. Something that they will have another era of life, dude. It's crazy. When you spoke about genetic, I was like, wow, it's crazy. That's
It's funny you should say that because the one thing that we've lost, not even just like South Africa, but in Africa in its entirety, its identity. If there's one thing that they attacked, is identity. Because if you look at how they actually envisioned Africa, they said this is the richest soil, but they lied to us and they brainwashed us by saying no, we're underdeveloped in our brains and all of that. When actually the kings and the queens were originally from Africa.
Every
And
human
until
being
we
evolved
from Africa, and until we get to a place where we re-establish our identity, we're gonna have all these hassles. We're gonna have all this trouble. We need to get to a point where we need to find our identity as a society. Who is Uzolile Msomi, like as an African? Who's Njabule Mkhize as an African? Who's Simon Mutu as an African? Who's Ulitwe Mbot as an African? You know, and once because if you look at every other culture and every other race, they are fully aware of who they are in their identity, and because they're fully aware of who they are in their identity, they're able to pass on their values into the next generation. You know, and particularly, let me just use finance. There was a book written by I think it's a capitalist nigger. That's the name of the book. Yes, I forgot who's the author, but it speaks about a spider web economy. So what it simply means is that the wealth does not leave the race. If you look at white people, before they will look externally, they look internally. They know who they are. They will support each other. Family first, then friends, then the connection, the people that they know within. Indians, same thing. Chinese, same thing. Then you look at black people. What they did is that they distorted our identity. They divided us. And as a result, we are so divided that every time one gets an opportunity to get jealous instead of supporting someone else, we will be actually probably the most powerful race. I'm not joking. If we were united as the Africans, we will be the
plus
most
we have
powerful.
African science.
And we have African science as well. Yes. You know,
We have African science. Using it that way.
and then also even to speak about the issues that we have here in Africa. Our issue is not issue of finances, it's a lack of leadership. Money is there,
Yeah.
but the problem is leadership. Because if it's just that they don't know how to steward the resources that they have. Until we get back to identity, then we will know who we are. Then we'll be able to pass on to the next generation. But as long as we don't know who we are, even as parents, you know, some of them we may be insecure, and instead of supporting our kids, That's why you find that someone instill fear. No, as we spoke earlier about how normally if it's a white person or Indian person, it's easier for them to take a gap year. But a black person, uhlaza wena. Cabangani ukuthi ucathi imali iphume ehlahleni you know, and all of those things as well. You know, and they think you've lost it, but no. But sometimes you need to take a break so that you recalibrate. You know, there are very few families, you know, in the black society that would allow you to do that so you can actually grow and find yourself. And until
Talk.
and until we get to a space where we find our identity, we're still going to be in trouble. And even males as well. You know, I'm looking at gender-based violence.
There's too much work. There's too much work, gents.
There is.
This is the beginning.
Until until we get to a point as males, we say we need help. Nothing's gonna change.
We need help, bro.
And because males, we were prideful. We're not gonna say whoa, you name it. But it's not helping us, you know. But until we get to a point where we're saying it's okay, listen, this is the issue. We need help. How do you address it as a Masud? How do you address it as a Masud? And a Matros and whatnot, you name it, as different clans. Then we're gonna be in troubles. And we need to get to a point, not even just as cultures, but even as males in general, where we need to throw away this, we are boys, bro code. Bro code at what point? When people are being killed, women are being killed. It's all fun and games until your sisters and your family members are being killed.
And also, bro, when do you put your pride as a man? Because I think we got confused when it comes to pride. Yeah, we black men, we prideful, bro, we like lions. But when do you put it? When do you channel it good? Because we've lost where we put our pride. Like, dude, I tuned a friend of mine. He was like, he told me that, dude, when I'm angry, I just lose it. I said, bruh, don't lie to me. You don't lose it. I was like, dude, I could crush anyone in a room. I said, can I make one phone call? I'll just phone cops. I just say you have a gun, it's not registered. And dude, they'll beat you. And I want to see you losing it. In his conscious mind, he was like, okay. Dude, I'm going to get beaten. But he never went with that option. So in my mind, as we were having that conversation, we were having an argument, by the way, I just learned something. We don't know, us men especially, we don't know when to stop. We don't know the do's and don'ts. It's just that our pride just gets in the way, and we just like, we don't know where do we apply our pride, where we don't.
Without coming in, without breaking your train of thought there, that is exactly where the historical element comes in. You now know how your people operate. You now know how to channel your pride. Because
Correct.
you've been taught, you know? You don't, Google won't teach you that. You know? Facebook won't teach you that. You know? It's your own things, your history,
Yes.
your background, your
They can't
people
even spell.
that will teach you. Actually, Tina, we show our pride. Magnum thing be like, you know, Senzani, we do this, we do that, it's Namabu, so we do. Depends on your family. But they know how to channel that. They did it. They experienced it. You can't let all these years of them being alive go to waste. You know, download that information because it's got so many answers. You spoke about gender-based violence. I don't want to come in too much on that topic. I feel like it needs a whole
It's going to be
day.
discussed.
So-
I have points, I have everything. It's going to be
You know?
discussed. So we're going
But-
to come to the
But I feel like it's also an identity crisis, you know, because if you understood what it means to have a woman in your family, if you understand why as an African man, if you have this house, structures yeah, but the minute you get a wife, why you know, why does the whole branding around this property change just by the entrance of one person? And suddenly there's an energy here, which you have not created. And you have got very little to do with. It's her. Once you understand that, you know, which you're going to learn when you learn a lot about yourself and your people, then you're gonna know, Uguti, you can't beat that up.
Mm.
You can't kill that.
True.
In fact, if you kill that, you're killing yourself. You're killing your homestead.
You know what I want to add on that? Sorry, to cut you there. There's some video that I was watching of a professor. I forgot his name. One of a guy that I know, Artie, he always talks about this, and he's always posting about him. And the guy is talking about how we have to go to our elders, and we have to codify the information of our culture. We need to write it down. We need to go back and write it down, because there lies the answer of who we are and how we can move forward. Right? That's what needs to be done. We need to go back and codify all of that, and then relearn, reteach ourselves. Right? As you said, it is an identity crisis, because they separated us from ourselves and brainwashed us propaganda from our roots. Right? And put all of these things, whether it be alcohol, whether it be whatever it is, all of these things in our communities, and suppress, or whatever it is, in a way, you know, to suppress ourselves and the growth. Right? And yeah, that's just basically what I had to add. You know, just sprang in my mind as soon as you added on that.
Speaking of suppressing growth, sorry, Chief.
No worries.
I'm thinking how the system of education is teaching us to remember stuff, but not to be creative. Dude, I was training a friend of mine. Dude, I was holding a lab science textbook. I was like, dude, we're supposed to grab this the whole year and write it on an exam. But why we keep on failing? But we're just talking about why we're failing. But in my mind, I just thought the whole year you spend to memorize the textbook so that you could write it on the exam. But where's the creativity in that? Where do you grow? The system was set there to suppress your brain so that you won't be creative. Crazy thing, the system was told you to don't fail, because if you fail, they're gonna laugh at you, and you don't want to repeat. You don't really want to repeat. You just need to move to a next grade. Crazy enough, as we run a business, you've realized when you fail, you grow the most. Wherever you fail, that's where you grow the most. And it was something that you were never taught at school.
No, true.
Because you were supposed to limit. You must have a limit when it comes to your thinking. That's the system what it wanted for you. To don't go back and ask, what does mutua mean? Why was the surname mutua? But I also feel, that's why I always say men need to take responsibility. Unfortunately, responsibility was sold out by Adam. I'm just gonna take it to a Bible. God spent time with Adam many years, and then he later. That's why you were talking about house being a home when there's a woman inside, and then later God introduced Eve. He said, "She's gonna be your helper." Crazy enough, Eve met a snake, and then she ate an apple. One of my questions: where was Adam? He was supposed to be responsible of his helper. Why? Where was he? But okay, Eve came with the fruit, gave Adam the fruit, and then God came later. He's like, "Hey, yo, where you guys at?" Okay, I'm sure he didn't say it like that. Like, "Hey, yo, where you guys at?" But they didn't want to come out. And then when they finally decided to come out, Adam said, when God asked, "Did you guys eat the fruit?" Adam said, it was the woman you gave me.
The daughter.
The daughter you gave me. Your daughter. Thanks, dude, that was when men started losing responsibility.
You know, I'm reminded as you're speaking about that, there's something we once spoke about Unjabula at school, at UKZN. Speaking about why there's a huge rise of Amapara, and one of it, and he said something so profound, is that one of the main reasons is that it's because of the absence of fathers. Because when there were fathers, there were less of Amapara,
Responsibility,
and there was a lot of responsibility. You know, there were less of Amapara, and one of the reasons why, obviously, as a generation, you know, now we are struggling a lot is because of the absence of the fathers and the male.
Nurturing of the boy child from
And obviously we have a
and the
And the
responsibility.
guilt out. Yes,
And-
most
yes,
definitely.
and-
most
Dude,
definitely.
can I tell you something that is so crazy? As a man, I need to learn from my father how to treat a woman because he's gonna be treating my mom good. And I need to learn from my mom what kind of a woman I'm gonna be marrying later. And my sister needs to learn from my father what kind of a man she needs, and even learn from my mom how to treat a man. If the man is not here, what are you creating?
Which means the system is broken from the beginning.
It's broken.
And now you're taking that and you're exporting it to the world. And then you wonder why there's so much breakdown and so many problems all over. But the problem, it starts in the families. You know, it's an internal problem. You know, you spoke about looking in first.
Yeah.
Before we go out. You know, it's an inward problem. Unfortunately, and people like shifting this to government. Government can't do much about that.
It's a personal thing.
You know?
Lockdown has been a blessing in disguise because it's forcing you to deal with the issues that you are
Exactly.
facing as a person, not what the crew, the squad, does. You know, it's forcing, you know, and especially with families, you know, in a busy world where people are so focused on their jobs, like, oh no, I'm doing a job and this and this and that and that. Now you're at home. There's no running away. There's no shape shifting. It's like 1, 2. You know, we have to deal with that issue. You know, and all of us. Whether you're young, whether you're old, your cats, your dog, you have to deal with them as well. And it forces you to deal with the issues that are at hand as well, you know.
That's 100%. That's 100%. You know what I was thinking about as well, gents? I think also touching on black privilege from the video that I put on is that although there's a sense of loss, I think generally as us as a community, there's still that. For example, something that was very interesting to me that this popped up. You see, there's a respect that us as black people that we have for each other. When people come to South Africa or whatever it is, there's this thing, you know, that we have that is different. And I was speaking to one of my white friends and just, you know, family member, older lady, and she was like, how us as Africans, we respect our elders. But in those communities, and those other communities, they don't. It doesn't matter. There's a hierarchy. There's something when you know, okay, cool, or you know that you have that respect. There's still that. There's elements of the truth of ourselves that just comes naturally. You know, so that's something that just popped into my mind, and I just wanted to express. You know, and just to shed light on.
And bro, I think speaking of privilege, we different from white people. I think as soon as the black culture accepts that, I mean, come on, 59 million, and there's like around 5 million, 6 white people. So there's like around 50.
That's majority. That's
50 something.
That's black privilege.
50 something million of blacks.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I don't
Are you
know
trying to tell me
about
you're
the
still broke?
difference, but the privilege. The privilege.
The privilege, dude.
The privilege.
Yeah, that's a privilege. Are you still having it hard in the township, dude? You need to learn. You need to be out there. You need to talk, dude. Open a small Indian sports there and have shisanyam, dude. You can't be telling me in 50 million people. Imagine if you're getting 1 rand from those 50 million people. Dude, imagine if you're getting 1 rand. So the privileges, bro, that you're speaking about, like, move away the things that distracting you. Media, social media, it will kill you.
Yeah.
Because you get in there, you compare yourself with people. Okay, they're 20 years old now. They're owning a property. What I've been doing my entire life, I'm a failure, dude. And I feel like black culture, you need to know this. Our brains, it takes us out from the things that are uncomfortable. So that's why in the classroom, when a teacher is asking a question, you, even though you know the answer, you have that fear of raising your hand because your brain is trying to protect you from being exposed and from being disappointed. Hence why you were taught don't fail. We come with that mentality of protecting ourselves. That's why you're scared of even on jumping and starting something. Be a comedian, dude. If people are laughing at what you're saying, you can't be a comedian. Just you need to stop living in that fear. Everyone is scared. That's what I realize in life. Everyone is scared. You need to stop living in that fear. Just jump out. Just dive. You're gonna see when you're swimming. If you can't swim, you're gonna land there. But you dive.
But you see, if you can't swim, that's fine. We need to be okay with making mistakes.
Exactly.
You know, if you want to be authentic, you need to find your way. You're not gonna find your way easily. It's not easy, guys. You know, that's another point we need to bring in. It's not an easy process. You know, but you must be willing to make mistakes. You must be willing to say, I want to try this because it feels good. It feels, you know what? I feel like I can do well here, and then you don't do well, and then you learn from that. And like you said earlier on, your failures is where you learn the most. So that's where you're going to grow the most. You know, we've been engineered to be so scared of failure. From grade 1, from grade R. I don't even know what's before grade R.
Yeah, grade R is notes.
Yeah.
Prep.
Yes. But see,
Prep.
from then you taught, don't fail. And actually, the truth is fail.
Actually, fail.
Fail and learn. Fail and learn. Don't fail and then go to sleep. No.
Dude, you can't be tripped by one stone every time you walk.
Fail forward, basically. Fail
You know,
forward,
every time, dude.
Fail and welcome failure. Welcome it because it's coming with lessons. It's teaching you. It's actually a success. Failure is actually a big part of success. You know, and that's the cost.
It is.
You spoke about the cost. That's the cost. You know, we must be willing to say, it's okay. Some way I am gonna make a mistake. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna do this, but it's fine. It's fine. They're gonna judge me. They're gonna talk. Social media is gonna make me trend, and everyone's gonna love me. You know?
And also the track is for 1 week
You know?
stream and then you're done.
Yeah. And then you're done.
Dude, you're done. You're back
Take on
to-
for the team.
Yeah.
Just once.
You know, and guys, the truth is today, and I know money is important, guys. It's very important. It pays the bills, but we are too governed by money.
Ooh. The relationship with money.
Yo, we are way too governed by. We make
relationship.
How
we
much
make
is
life
enough?
decisions. We make life. Umuntu marries a partner, someone you live with 24/7 for money.
For money, dude. It's actually happening.
I mean, you spoke about your subconscious. You spoke about the matter of a person. How much is in a person? Imagine now you've just put yourself in a toxic space for a commodity that you're gonna leave here when you die.
Dude, that's gonna leave.
That's so powerful.
You know? I don't know. I don't know. I've got a problem with that. You know?
That's another thing on its own. Relationship with money, the understanding of money. I was also watching a video. I don't know if you guys know, maybe you guys know it, the podcast, a DJ Spoo's podcast
Okay.
online. And he had someone on the show who was talking about Forex and talking about the relationship of money and the idea of money. And he was saying that money is just a tool, you know, to use to better yourself, to create assets, to buy assets, to create generational wealth. And he was talking about how like the whole system, capitalist system, is rigged against us. And how, okay, maybe the bank will give you, you know, like maximum 9%, you know, back on your return of your savings or investment, and how inflation is happening at 14%. So there's a gap of about, what is it, 5 or 6?
5%.
A 5%. So by the time that money is there, it will already have depreciated compoundedly.
You lose.
You know,
You're losing.
you know, and that was when you
Lose-lose situation.
that in, and he was also saying it's also because of the system has constructed these that we haven't been exposed to this wealth of information. That's what we were fighting. We were fighting for information for ourselves of ourselves. Hey, black people don't understand. We were the first person that we created chairs, we created, what you might call it? All of these things, these machineries and things, but none of that is written in the history books. Nobody understands, nobody knows. They don't tell you that we were the ones who created all of this stuff.
Dude, the best-selling toy, water gun, was created by black.
I don't think literally everything was created by us, but none of it has our name on it.
No.
It's been appropriated and to be rebranded. And the characteristics of the black man have been appropriated to the white man. So we think that blackness is a level down from the white man, when actually everything. You get what I'm saying?
So, yeah, so that's exactly where doing this research,
Of your origin.
yeah,
Of where you
your
come
origin,
from.
it'll tell
To
you.
find.
If your grandfather created a car,
Yeah.
or created a light bulb, or whatever,
Yeah.
it's there. That information is there. They can't delete that. You know, and
Worst
that,
part, you have that on your DNA.
yes. So
You can
actually,
manipulate and use
so
it.
actually, he created a light bulb. You can create the next ESCOM. You can. Just because government says ESCOM is the only power producer doesn't mean we can't challenge that. We can't change that. You know, and that needs to be our mentality, guys. We can't accept everything we're given and told. There's so much that we are given and
challenge.
told, and that we see that, okay, this is actually nonsense, but you're told you can't do. We must challenge that. You know, we need to say, no, we can do this. We can come into this space. We can build that. You know, we can have a society like this functioning properly. You know, a lot of things that are about us Africans automatically have got negative notions. Hey, but black people like this, black, you know, and now we've created
was
a
taught.
subconscious mindset, you know, of memory that is so negative. So,
taught. Yeah.
if you try to step out, already you're clouded by negativity. You know, we need to change that. Our kids can't speak that language. That language needs to die in our generation. You know, our grandfathers and great grandfathers spoke it and developed it, and our parents developed it. Now we need to kill it, and we need to form a new language. You know, that by the time we have our families, our kids, and all that, you know, they're speaking this language now. You know, and this is the language of the progressive people, people who understand, who know themselves, who are authentic, like how you say, you know, and who are growing in their different spaces.
I just have a question. You know, there's always this notion, no, just because it came from a white person, or it came from an Indian, it came from a Chinese, now you can't really do the way to decipher as to whether as a black person, you say just because it comes from a white person, you can actually learn from them instead of criticizing.
This is a very valid thing
and,
that you brought
and
up.
even from an Indian as well, or
That's a
any
very
other
valid
culture
thing.
for that matter, because I believe that you can always learn from
There
every
we go.
race.
Yes, yes, yes.
You can
yes,
learn from every
exactly.
race.
That's a wonderful question, and I just want to dive into it first. First and foremost, I believe that we're human beings, that we're all made, we're all the same at its core, but within the same, there's diversity, and within diversity, there's specialities, right? And we can extract that information from different cultures, refine it, and use it to help ourselves and our families. That was another thing that I also talked about black privilege, was that we get that information from other cultures, from the colonizers, and then use it, adapt it, and implement it into our own spaces. The reason why we need to do that is because we are the identity, we are the majority. So we can relate to the majority. They can't. It's only us, right? So we need to use that information and then, you know, come back into ourselves. Another thing, I'm just going to touch on property, a bit about property for an example. there's this plan that I'm just following in terms of property, and this guy named Lawrence Bull, he has like this we use the softwares to just use monitor trends and to see which places are growing and whatnot, and there were trends growing in, like, let's say Sancton, Joburg, or wherever it is, you know, and there's various things around that. But then one place that was growing astronomically was Tembisa. And he was like, Tembisa is growing here in terms of rental places and whatever it is, buy to let and etc. etc. But it was just like, oh, that place is just growing, and somebody needs to tap into that market. Who? Us. That's black privilege.
Yeah.
That's how I see it in my. That's basically how I put it together in my mind. You know.
Wow.
So that's just basically what I have to say in that regard. And I'm so glad that you put up that question in terms of ciphering. If we have anything to add on that, because I think that's very important.
That's such an important question.
I think the one part I can say that I love that you actually touched on is the fact that you said we are first and for all a human race, and that can actually eliminate racism. If people understood that we're not black, you're not white, you're not Indian, or whatever the case may be, we're first human. And if you look at people as humans before we look at the
Like
skin
earlier on,
color,
I was talking about what I
That
meant
is
with the
power.
colonizers, because that's, you know, but exactly what you're saying. Yeah, you can continue on. Yeah.
No. So if we can move away from actually judging the people with the skin color and the character, you know, and we judge people for who they are, not just by their skin color or their content, but then we can actually grow. We can move away. We can then, even with this issue when it comes to Black Lives Matter, then we can actually break it down, you know. But also, the most important thing we need to understand is that we cannot use American systems to solve African issues. So we need to solve, and we need to use systems that are entailing to Africa, you know, to South Africa in particular, you know, so to be able to address these issues, you know, whether it's racism in general, or in the corporate space, systematic racism, whatever form of racism, you know. So those are some of the ways we need to actually look at it to sort of address racism as well. We need to start looking at people as humans, not as a race.
100%, and I think you said profoundly, completely profoundly, and I'm sure we have other. Do you have anything to add? Someone, because I can see that you want to.
No, I, you know, when you were saying it affects something that I think we need to remember before. Our great fathers, they would take all the maids, go to a mountain, and teach them about the culture of being black. What does it mean to be black? As you were talking about, we humans, I started having an idea of why would they call it Rainbow Nation? Different, they are Indians, they're Chinese, white, black. Why are we having so many issues here in South Africa? Why are we having so many parents and what's not? It's the lack of leadership from maid, absent fathers and what's not. Why don't we meet as men, as brothers, and actually raise one another? If someone never had a father, I had a father. We can actually teach each other how to be a man, how to control ourselves. It doesn't make sense. Why would a man force himself to a female? That's a chapter for another day. But you know,
But it's pride, eh?
It is pride.
Males.
Actually, one of the guys said something. He was like, "Why would a girl come to my house if she doesn't want it?" I'm like, "Chief, whoa, Chief, no, Chief,
Yeah, that.
Chief, whoa." Like, but I understood how lack of information he has. He thinks each and every girl pops out into his house, they want it. I feel like that's what we men, enough with the Africans, with whites, with Chinese. We need to sit down as men and start
general,
talking.
yes.
Let's start talk. one of my rides, it was a white lady. She told me that she was in an abusive relationship for 20 years. Like, there's no, she was like, Simon, there's no kind of beating I don't know. And I'm just like, she's smart with body. And I'm just like asking myself, why would a man raise his hand to a defensive person? I think that's why I'm saying all the cultures, we need to get together now and start talking as men. Like,
As a collective. Yeah.
if you want to beat someone, come to me and I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you colours.
It's a men issue, not a race issue.
It's not a race.
Yeah.
It's men. Now we
It's a
talk about
male
men.
issue.
it's a male issue,
Yeah,
bro.
it's a male issue.
And we need to have stop. Even the word male, dude, I hate that word small business. I hate those words that's come into our subconscious mind, and like small business. I have a small business construction that I'm running. Automatically, my subconscious
Men,
mind is
because you say
vibrating
men.
small.
Yeah.
If I say it's a male, bro,
Okay, men.
I want to say it's a brotherhood problem. We brothers. I mean, come on, we just made on one image. We brother. It's a brotherhood problem that we need to talk about. And sit down as brothers and talk like, dude, you need psychological help.
Yeah.
You need to accept that you're wrong in that area. Well, she's not wrong. You are the one who's wrong. Well, she needs help because they also need help as well. She needs help. Take her to a professional help. You can't be solving an issue with like physical. Bro, you can't be doing. Like, we need to talk as brothers.
And your first point of the subconscious, I think is so powerful because no one ever takes note of that. But that is where I think the most downloading, like you said, happens. And from racism to gender-based violence problems to restrictions, and limitations and fear and a lack of growth, I think everything begins there. There's so many years of knowledge we need to delete, like I was saying earlier on, of so much, because for one reason or the other, we have been downloading a lot of nonsense, and we must all take responsibility.
True.
Yeah.
Because whether you have been abusive or not to someone of the opposite gender, the fact is you've also probably downloaded some stuff you need to delete. And maybe you are still going to be abusive. Maybe your turn has. I'm not saying you are, but we don't know what's going to happen. And because of the information and the stereotypes and things that have been placed into your head by society, we all actually do need to revisit this whole thing and
Relearn.
say, guys,
Psychosocial therapy, bro. Completely.
yeah,
Reconstruction.
Can I quickly share a thing
yeah,
of how effective the subconscious mind is? Why, when you're passing someone, you automatically go to your left? Because when cars, they're passing, you drive on your left. Like, your subconscious mind just grab that automatically. Why, when you're on your right, you're just gonna be like, and end up kissing. But
This guy.
But dude, that's how crazy your subconscious mind is, because it has grabbed that when a car is passing, it's passing on your right, so you need to go on your left. That's why when you're passing someone, you feel comfortable when you go on your left. Like, if you go on your right, you feel like they're gonna come back on your left. You're just like, you don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how crazy the subconscious mind is.
yeah. It's powerful.
It's crazy that your body is being controlled by your subconscious mind, and your conscious mind is just adding to it. There are things, dude, have you ever had a conversation where you don't even feel hungry, where you just like enjoying being, like, when if you with someone you enjoy being around with, where you just don't feel hungry?
Yeah,
It's funny.
Yeah.
Those people, they're feeling your subconscious mind, they're feeling your soul. It's crazy. It's crazy how our body reacts and how our subconscious mind our conscious mind is adding to it. The stuff that dude, you cannot speak Chinese, but you know how it sounds like because you've watched it on a movie. But dude, you can't speak it. You can't speak it. But dude, you know one word. You know Lee. Because it's there on your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind did grab the whole picture, but your conscious mind just grabbed Lee and Jean.
And Chang.
Dude, but I'm telling you, if you can sit down, you can speak one word from Chinese movie you've had. Because it's there on your subconscious mind. It's just that you've never done it, and as I was saying it, you just went like, it's impossible to do it. Dude, it's not gonna happen. Because that's what we do sometimes. When you have an idea, when you wanna do something, when you wanna pursue something, you just get straight to your conscious mind and just say, it's never gonna happen. And then you're just sending a message to your subconscious mind that it's never gonna happen. And then your subconscious mind is just like, okay, well, it's never gonna happen. Let me just chill. Dude, it's crazy.
The
how
mind, the
effective.
power of the mind.
Dude, the mind.
Can you see? I just wanted to touch on what we're talking about and information, about extracting information from different cultures and different. See what information has done. Now we have information about self, this body, this form, this human form, this vantage of God, of everyone, and we understand it. And now, because now we understand this vantage, we're able to use that information to help ourselves and those around us. And that's exactly what needs to happen. That's exactly why we're here today. That's exactly why we're here coming together as brethren with this first episode on, you know, the round circle. And I really want to wrap things up, gentlemen, and we're going to go on and on and on and on. And I know this is generally what it is. And today, gents, I really hope that we can actually have some fixtures here, you know, gentlemen that can just come in because I'm looking to have this about twice a month, you know, and maybe bring in different views and different persons, you know, and really engage in this. This can be something big, gentlemen. It's important.
Yeah.
It's so important. We need this, especially at a time like this. So thank you so much for coming out today, gents. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes, you, my brother. Hey.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you. Definitely. If you have any, I know we've been talking about social media, any socials, if you want to share your socials out to the people to just let them know where you are so they can engage with you in your business or whatever it is, you know, to contact you, would you like to just tell them in any way? Are you guys good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they already know. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to the Reality Shift, this episode's Men's Round Circle. Please do like, subscribe, comment, engage, and follow us at The Reality Shift SA on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and at Leadswimboto on all of those platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in, and this is us, and we out.
Shalele.